Hey everybody, welcome into another edition to the Point Podcast. It's a Big Money Friday as we get prepared to enter week 7 of the NFL. A little later on in the podcast, Walker Campbell will join me. We'll talk about a number of different things, including the NFL lines this weekend. We will discuss UFC 280, which is tomorrow afternoon in Abu Dhabi. We'll get into his Washington Capitals start to the season. And for some reason, Walker is a Lakers fan. Not exactly a great time to be a Lakers fan, as they are 0-2 to start the season. Their team is full of players that don't fit LeBron James' perfect roster, although you can blame LeBron James for that. So we'll get into a number of different things today. Should be a fun show. Looking forward to it. Always great when Walker joins. He's a fellow gambler like myself, so we dive into the betting lines whenever we chat. And honestly, to share a little intel before the game, we were texting last night, and we both had the Cardinals minus 2.5, which the Cardinals won the game. And we also had Chris Olave over receiving yards. He went over 100 for the third time this season. That was an easy bet without having Jarvis Landry or Michael Thomas in the lineup. So the two top wide receivers were out. Chris Olave, first-round pick, rookie, stud. I think he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, even though he's playing with mismanaged quarterbacks. He's playing with Andy Dalton. He's playing with Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston the first 2 weeks till his back seemed to seize. Chris Olave is a stud. He went over. The Cardinals won by 2.5. I hate betting favorites. I did last night. It did work out for me. But again, when you're betting favorites, your payout's not going to be that much. It's a frustrating experience when you do win and you want to make more money than you did. But that's gambling. It's a love and hate relationship, but yet I continue to do it. So there you go. Before Walker joins, we got some other news to chat about. And, I gotta give some props today. And I'm not admitting I'm wrong when I do this, because it's way too early to admit I'm wrong. As you know in the show, if I'm wrong, I will admit it. Something in life it's just a principle. When you're wrong, admit it. Don't fight that you're not wrong and then admit that you're wrong 2 months later. That's wasting 2 months of your life that you could have been wrong, and then you're right with the person that you wronged. That might sound like an oversimplistic simplification of that idea, but to me, that's how I approach life. When you're wrong, own it. If you're not a big enough man or woman to do that, maybe think about what you're doing. I said before the start of the season that the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Toronto Maple Leafs media, which are basically fans because journalism is dying all around us, the industry, when it comes to politics, when it comes to sports, it doesn't matter. Journalism is slowly dying, and it's part of the reason why I didn't want to go into the industry when I got out of university. But I try to keep it 100 here. I try to keep journalism alive. I try on this undecided if Nick Robertson was going to be a great player. I have my doubts. He's a small forward that is very much like a lot of the other Leaf forwards. No physical attributes, not overly skilled, and a guy who's propped up by media people. Nick Robertson got into his first game last night, and to his credit, he had the game of his life. Nick Robertson finished with 2 goals, including the game winner. He made a great defensive play on that game-winning goal in overtime. And for Nick the Stick Robertson, it was as good a first game as you're going to have. Now, obviously, he's played NHL games in the past. He played in the bubble. He's done different things. But primarily, he's been an AHL player the last 2 years. Here's the deal. Nick Robertson had a great night. He was better than his brother Jason last night. Jason's still a far better player. Jason scored 40 goals in the NHL. Nick Robertson hasn't played 40 games. But last night, Nick Robertson did something I didn't think he'd ever do. One, make a good defensive play. That might sound harsh, but you watch him play. I have. I've seen him play in the World Juniors. I've seen him play junior. I don't just look at a player once and say, okay, you're shit. I do my homework. I watch too many sports. That's a problem I have. That's half the reason my social life is as limited as it is. Last night, he did things I didn't think he'd ever do. He had a great overtime winner on a great feed by Austin Matthews. And he had himself a game. But here's where the rubber meets the road, and here's where the story is only beginning. One game does not define a career. One game does not mean that you're a full-fledged NHLer, and one game doesn't mean that you're going to be a great player throughout your whole career. Two things can be true. I say that all the time because that's life. Nick Robertson played great last night. That doesn't mean he's going to be an impactful player for the Toronto Maple Leafs this season or be a great NHLer. Chris Johnston and the Maple Leaf boosters on Twitter who prop up this team, who are journalists, air quotes, yet have no journalistic integrity at all. They just write stories about the Maple Leaf players they like so they can get more access, whatever they want to do, kiss ass to get more views, to get more clicks. Good on you if that's the way you want to run your business. I can judge it because I don't think it's the right way to go. But you do what you got to do, and those people love what they see. I can appreciate one game without putting a guy in the Hall of Fame because here's a few players that had a great start to a career. How about Steve Mason? Do you remember Steve Mason? He was a Calder Trophy winner. He was a goalie of the future. He was going to be the next big thing in net. Oh, yeah, he didn't last 6 years in the league. And he was bought out by the Montreal Canadiens. Do you recall Steve Mason? Yeah, he's out of the league. Still not playing. Early 30s, not playing in the NHL. This is for the Maple Leaf fans. Do you recall Justin Pogge? Justin Pogge had a good start to his NHL career. Justin Pogge was the next big thing. Justin Pogge was the great one. He was the next great goaltender in the NHL. Yeah, Justin Pogge played in Europe, then he retired. Nikita Zaitsev. There are Anton Slepyshev in Edmonton. Andrew Hammond. One game does not define a career. I can give credit to the player for the game he had last night, but that does not mean I'm going to give him more credit than what he deserves. He played good last night. I can appreciate that. I still think he has a lot of limitations, and I still think his game is extremely, how can I define it? It's extremely predictable. It's Maple Leaf-esque. It's what the whole team does, which is part of the reason why I don't love the team in any playoff, because they don't have any diversity. They don't have anything to change up. They have a fastball with nothing else. They're Aroldis Chapman. They can throw a fastball at you 100 miles an hour because they got skilled players that can score. But guess what? If the skilled players aren't going that night, they don't have an 89-mile-an-hour curveball to throw at you. Like a Tampa, like a Colorado, like a New York. They're a one-trick pony. And Nick Robertson isn't going to be that solution. Now, the start to this Leafs season has been extremely interesting because it's been panic-inducing. It's been Sheldon Keefe calling out the team. It's been the best players saying, oh, we don't need to hear that we're playing like shit. We know. It's been really uptight, intrusive, and a little puzzling. I'm surrounded by Leaf fans. My parents live and die by the team, unfortunately for them. I have to hear every day about the team. We talk about the team. They go through the players they like, dislike. It's fun at times and also can frustrate you because I think they're oftentimes too harsh. This Maple Leaf regular season is going to be fine. Did the Leafs play good? I thought they had their best game of the season last night as a team in totality. The second period was their best period of the season. They dominated play. They didn't allow Dallas to have any scoring chances, and they could just control the play. Not to mention they got 8 power plays last night, which give me a second on that because I got a few rants from this game that are in particular frustrating. But they had a great game. I thought Victor Mete, who came into the lineup for Jake Muzzin, played pretty solid last night. He's not a game breaker. He's not going to change life for you, but he played well. Justin Hall does a couple things a game. You want to strangle him. But this team is good. Most people say Austin Matthews is the second best player in the NHL. I don't, but most people do. Which, again, do I really care what most people say? I care more about what I say. So Austin Matthews is one of the best players in the NHL. How about that? There's a better clarification. But what I will say, 5 games in, Austin Matthews has been pedestrian. He was pedestrian again last night. You're the best goal scorer in the league. He's not getting any great chances. You can say it's Marner passing in the puck, but you can take the puck and shoot. You can not hang out on the outside. You can, how about get to the middle? Again, get to the middle of the net. Get to the crease. Get to the middle of the ice. I've been saying this the whole week, yet they don't love doing it. And when it finally happens, they score a goal. Funny how that works. But they got puck possession. They're cycling in their own zone. There are positive things happening with the Maple Leafs. This team is not in panic mode. They shouldn't be worried. They're going to have their best record in their conference. Well, the Rangers are good. Maybe in their division. I think they'll win it. I said before the season, Toronto will win the Atlantic. I still believe that. Matt Murray or not, that's not changing my opinion. Matt Murray. Samsonov's a better goalie anyway. He's won every start so far. Good for him. He looks solid in the net. He looks comfortable. You can't have, if you're a Leaf fan, you can't have any complaints about Ilya Samsonov. Believe me, look at Pierre Engvall. You can find some things to be frustrated about. 6'4", 230. He won't throw a fucking check. He won't go in a corner. My bigger concern with this team is just their way of competing bothers me because it's not the way, and this can be old school thinking, but competing to me is digging in. It's going into a corner, coming out with a puck. It's battling, having a sense of just we need to do this. The compete of, well, we're going to out-dangle you. We're going to do this great play. We'll embarrass you because we made this great cross-ice pass. That's not competing to me. That's where I would be concerned. It's not my cup of tea. This team will never be my favorite team to watch. They're boring to watch because there's no physicality to me. That's just my preference. However, they have a ton of skill. Matthews made a great pass on the game-winning goal. I don't think he's been very good so far this year. Marner hasn't been very good either. But what I will say is Matthews the best goal scorer in the world. I agree. I'm not debating that. He's got 1 goal in 5 games. That's not nothing. Svechnikov's had a hat trick. He's got 6. McDavid's got 5. All these other great players are scoring goals. Why isn't he? Just seems to go underneath the rug. We don't hear about that story. It's all about Nick Robertson covering up the bigger deal to me. 1 for 8 on the power play, Toronto. Now, do I think Dallas penalty kills well? Yeah. Normally, physical teams penalty kill well because they are hungry after the puck. Think of Hockey Panya last night. I thought Heiskanen, he's playing extremely well. He's really accepting that number 1 defenseman role in Dallas, and I love the way he's approaching the game. Little Joe Pavelski, he's 38 years old. He can still damn defend. He can still score. He's still a great player. Luke Glendening scores a goal. Mike Babcock's favorite guy when he was in Dallas. He's still in the league. He scores a goal last night, and he kills penalties better than anybody. So this team has some flaws, for sure. 1 for 8 in the power play is a concern because their power play hasn't looked good in any of the games this season. Ottawa scored 2 power play goals last night. Now I got a theory on the league, and I have another Leafs little note. Actually, it's not a Leaf note. It's just in general about the NHL. So two notes. I start off by this mini rant. I've done this before. Video review is horrible. It's terrible for any league. I would get rid of all of it. The fact that it took 10 minutes to hear that Tyler Seguin scored a goal last night is flat out embarrassing. That was a goal 10 out of 10 times, 100 out of 100. You use any metric you want. Tyler Seguin scored a goal. Mitch Marner ran into his own goalie, and they took 10 minutes to figure that out. How many different fucking angles do you need to see before that's a goal? I went to the baseball game, to the Kings-Pens game, to another game, and came back, and I didn't miss a shift. Didn't miss a shift. Didn't miss them telling me it was a goal. And then you got Kyle Dubas freaking out in the press box. Why, Poindexter? It's a damn goal. How about tell your $10.9 million player not to run into Samsonov? Tyler Seguin is not in the crease. Tyler Seguin is not in the grill. That's a goal. Period. Kyle Dubas bitching about it, and then Sheldon Keefe's got to have a word with the officials. Sheldon Keefe has a word with the officials every night. The guy complains and bitches more than any coach in the NHL. That's a goal. If you're complaining about that one because you're upset about the review on Monday, and believe me, I didn't like that review either because that took way too fucking long, but come on. It's a lazy narrative. This stupid approach, this video review, it sucks, it's slow, it has no appeal. None. Why is it still in the game? Why are we still using it? Not to mention, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know this, NHL PR before the season told every general manager, do not challenge a goal unless it is egregious. My deducing of that is we know our system stinks, and we don't want to have a bunch of reviews because we know people like Noah are going to be pissed off. He watches more hockey than anybody. He has to see all these goddamn reviews, drives him nuts. So we don't want our customer base to be angry at our shitty system. So please don't ask to challenge a goal unless you're certain it's going to go your way. You can change the system at any time. You can say we're done with this system, we're done with video review, but no. We're going to keep it, but tell our teams, please don't use the system because it's going to anger everyone. Boy, that makes a lot of sense, NHL. How much can you get wrong? Your PR stinks. Your social media stuff, your branding. You're more focused on your retro jerseys where 95% of them look like absolute dog crap. How about get the game right? How about at least if you're going to do video review, have it a way that it doesn't take 10 minutes. Why does it take 10 minutes? All these screens, all these streams, find an angle, is it a goal? Period. This wasn't an offside. You don't got to look. Is the puck across the line? Is it there? I have to do this a couple times a year, but it's already starting. We're a week in. I apologize. Now to my overall theory in the NHL so far this season, and it's a regular season theory that I just think is true. In the 2022-2023 version of the National Hockey League, which is skill-based, high-end skill, puck movers, no physicality. It's a new game. Still very fun. Some would argue it's better than it was before. There's better players, more skilled now than there ever has been. No doubt about it. However, I do think there is a problem in the National Hockey League, and here's one of them. In the regular season, if you are a physical team, if you approach the game with a sense of physicality, if you throw a lot of checks, if you're a cross-checking team and you just play the game that way, you are at a disadvantage. You are at a disadvantage because the referees will call everything. Case in point, the Toronto Maple Leafs had 8 power plays last night. 8 power plays. These weren't calls delay a game. It wasn't just, ticky-tack things. These were all stick fouls or a check, and it was the team with more talent, more feeble, and a team that really has no physicality whatsoever, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Somehow they ended up with 20 hits last night. They got that number. Take away about 18, I'm right there with you. They are at a disadvantage, a Dallas team, a Los Angeles team. No, you could say to me, well, no, the Leafs are at a disadvantage in the playoff. I don't see it that way. Last year, there were more penalties in the playoffs than any in the last 6 years. They're still calling penalties in the playoffs. They're still giving teams a ton of power plays in the postseason. It's not the game that it used to be. But what I don't like is if you have a physical approach to the game, you are put at a disadvantage just because the team that you're playing are weak. Just because you're playing against a bunch of guys that you tap their stick, they drop it, because guess what? They're not big, strong men. I have a problem with that. Hockey Panya took a slashing penalty last night, and it was honestly ridiculous. He was skating alongside Marner. Their two arms hit each other. He got called for slashing. That's not a physical play. That wasn't a slash, yet they called it. Why? Because Hockey Panya is a 6'4" big dude, and Mitch Marner's 5'10", 185 pounds. Law averages says Hockey Panya is going to win a lot of those board battles. But look at Dallas' team. Hockey Panya, Miro Heiskanen's a big dude. They got a tough defense. They got a physical team. Gurionov, Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin plays with edge. And they are under the microscope. This is just a theory I see around the league. The physical branded teams, New York can get in disadvantage with this. They get called for a lot of penalties. New York Rangers. The Islanders get called. They had the most penalties called against them last season. They get called a ton because they are a physical team. They got Matt Martin. They got Clutterbuck. They got Cizikas. They got Adam Pelech. They got Scott Mayfield. They got physical players. It's not illegal to be physical in the regular season, but I'm telling you, the league is trying to hurt teams from actually doing it. Physicality is not a bad thing. Mix that with skill. You think of Tom Wilson. Think about my unicorns that I love. Tom Wilson, Josh Anderson, Matthew Tkachuk. They have both. That's what makes the game even more compelling. Because you have a bit of everything. It's not just all skill here and you're only physical over here. This isn't barbarians like it used to be in the NHL, where it was just you had one or the other. No. You can be both in the game. Tyler Seguin can score a goal banked off Mitch Marner's foot, and he can also go into a corner and throw a big hit. You're allowed to do both, but seemingly the NHL is trying to get rid of one of those two factors. And it's not the skill that they're trying to get rid of. The skill is lauded. The skill is praised. It's loved. But you throw a check, you're the fucking boogeyman. I don't know. That's the NHL I see. I don't love a lot of it. Tampa and Florida play tonight. I'm curious to see how it's officiated. I'm going to watch that game. I want to see how many penalties there are tonight, because both teams are physical. Florida's more physical this season than they were last year. They're a gritty team. They are not as skilled as they used to be. Tampa can play any way you want. Want to play a skill game? I'll beat you doing that. Want to play a physical game? We'll beat you doing that. It's a measure stick game for both teams. But my theory on physical teams being at a disadvantage during the regular season, let me know what you think about it. I really think it's the case. Because Toronto was better than Dallas last night, no doubt about it. Toronto deserved to win the game. Dallas shouldn't have got a point. But at the same time, 8 penalties? 8 power plays for Toronto. Did Toronto's effort earn them 8 power plays last night? No. Might earn them 4, sure. Stick fouls. You're chasing the guy here out there for a long shift. Okay, you hook him. Oh, that's a call, of course. Whistle it down. Makes all the sense in the world. But 8 penalties from their effort last night? Also, how does a team that doesn't like going in the corner to get the puck get 8 power plays? Beyond me, but I'm no expert. I mean, I kind of am, but again, Leafs fans, just relax. Long season. Don't worry about your coach. Don't worry about your team. Yes, your power play sucks, but hopefully you can fix it. You have a good goaltender. Jake Muzzin, hopefully he can get healthy. If not, don't play because I don't want to see him get seriously hurt for the rest of his life. You're starting to possess the puck. You're starting to play a better team game. John Tavares has had a pretty solid start to the season. Bill Nylander is going into the corner to fight for pucks, loose puck battles. I'm impressed with Wild Bill. My hair today, I kind of look like Bill Nylander if I had the blonde hair. Might go as Bill Nylander for Halloween, but he's playing good. Matthews will get off the schneid here, hopefully. He might be banged up. He's grabbing his ribs all the time. Okay, if you're injured, sit the fuck down. Don't play. I don't want to see it after every shift. But you beat a good team last night. Don't take that for granted ever. When you get a win, it's a win. Who cares how you got it? Plus, Nick Robertson's a Hall of Famer, and he's bound for getting a bust in Toronto at the Hockey Hall of Fame. I love him like a pet. So it was all in all a good night last night for Toronto. No injuries. You won the game. Samsonov's undefeated. He's batting 1,000. And now you're on to Winnipeg. Head out on a Western road trip. You go to Winnipeg, and then you're in Vegas. California trip. So tell you that California trip's not as tough as it used to be. Vegas is off to a good start. They're 4-1. But San Jose, they beat the Rangers last night somehow. They stink. They're 1-5. LA got blown out by the Pittsburgh Penguins, which I watched the first period and a half of that game, still trying to figure out how it got that lopsided. Well, I do know Cal Peterson had a rough night, but that trip isn't Murderer's Row. It's not Toronto going to Winnipeg, Vegas, LA, San Jose, Anaheim. 6 points minimum. 6 points minimum on that trip. Beat Anaheim. Beat San Jose, obviously. LA, maybe if you get a point against LA, you get a point against Vegas. See what happens. It's a good trip. Winnipeg, it's not playing that great right now. They're not playing great. Vegas will be a tough opponent. Vegas had a really good start to the season. Logan Thompson is dialed in, and Jack Eichel had a great game last night for them. So that's the toughest game of the trip. But I like the way they've approached the start of the season. For Leaf fans, just keep it calm. You got a good team. Your coach isn't going anywhere. Maybe you make a move to replace Jake Muzzin. But as I mentioned yesterday, you want somebody to replace Jake Muzzin that is like Jake Muzzin, not another small defenseman that is the same as what you have. You want to have as many options as possible. I mentioned with all those teams that get deep into the playoffs, it's because they can play more than one way. Why Toronto has failed the last number of years? Because they can play one way. It's the skill game with a bunch of high-end players that make a whole lot of money. When those high-end players make a whole bunch of money, don't put the puck in the back of the net, you're screwed. Because Pierre Engvall and Alex Kerfoot and Calle Jarnkrok probably aren't scoring goals. Just a thought. Just something I've observed in my time watching Watching this team. What other stories? Oh, yeah, the Canucks. Oh, the Vancouver Canucks, who dropped another game last night. Now, if you want the silver linings playbook of the Canucks season, you could say the Canucks are 0-3-2. They're not 0-3-2. They're when you don't win, you are 0-5. I don't care about those 2 points. Plus, if you give up multi-goal leads in every game, you are 0-5. You don't deserve to be called 0-3-2. Vancouver is just they're in a pit right now. But we have on the line a fan of a team that's not playing much better. They gave up a multi-goal lead last night in the Washington Capitals. So as I bring in Walker Campbell, Walker, first off, good to see you again. Glad for coming back. How's morale with the Washington Capitals early in this season?
It's a little low, I won't lie. Was not very impressed with their off-season moves. Haven't been very impressed with their play so far,
Yeah,
but I'm hoping things can turn around. It's still early. It's still early.
yeah.
Still early. Can make lots of trades. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it's kind of. I wasn't expecting much coming into this year, but I think it's going to be a down year for sure. And but also, thanks for having me back. I'm excited to be here.
Do you think before we go to football, the Canucks they drop another game last night. They're 0-5 before they have their home opener, which should be fun on Saturday in front of that crowd who are they're so accepting of failure in Vancouver that they're heartwarming people. Do you think Brucey Boudreau's a little worried this morning? Like, do you think he's starting to get nervous about his job security?
Well, I think he would have to be. I mean, typically the first thing they look at when teams aren't performing as well as they are is the coaching or the GMs, right? They're usually the first to go. So if I was him, I would be desperately trying to get this win because yeah, I think he's a great coach and I think he would get another job pretty much instantly. But yeah, if I'm him, I'm definitely a little nervous going into this weekend.
Yeah, Horvat's playing great. Contract year, he's flying out there, and Pedersen looks good. They get 2 goals from their fourth line last night, and yet they still lose. Like they just their defense is really their big issue. I've been talking about that all week. How it's just such a bad group with Luke Shen, and you got to mix that with Tyler Myers, and you mix that with Kyle Burrows, and no, not Alex Burrows. It's a different Burrows, different spelling. It's this team just really isn't that good, but in a Canadian market, it's hard to accept that and hear that. I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think they just have a lot of talent up front, and
Mhm.
they have no issue scoring for sure. It
Yeah,
is their defense. It is their defense. Their defense are atrocious. I feel like every time I've been on here and talk about hockey, we've mentioned how horrible their defense is. So for them, I think it's tough for them. They're going to need to try and make some acquisitions for more than one defenseman. They're going to need two, maybe three guys because they have a good goalie in Thatcher Demko. I know
Mhm.
he hasn't had the greatest start, but not all his fault. The defense is bad. They've been in every game. They've been pretty
Yeah.
much winning every game. They're just having a hard time closing when teams put the pressure on them in the end. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out for them, but they really need to make some upgrades on the back end. I mean, you can't win games with Quinn Hughes and Tyler Myers as your best guys. And I mean, if Luke Shen's in your lineup, I mean, you're already losing.
Right. Yeah, not to mention they had Connor Garland a healthy scratch the other night. He's making over $4.5 million. That's good to be sitting in the press box. Yeah, they got a lot of work to do. Jim Benning really did a number on that organization. They still got to find a way to dig themselves out of that hole. Minnesota beat them last night. It's also off to a tough start, but I look at Kirill Kaprizov, and my God, the guy only gets better and better. Like he's such a joy to watch, incredibly skilled. Minnesota did the right thing waiting for him to come over from CSKA Moscow because he's a superstar now. Like I don't think there's a debate anymore. The guy is a bona fide superstar.
Yeah, he's amazing to watch. And the thing with him is he's not one of these kind of more boring superstars where they play more safe, conservative. Guys like I know people say Crosby's exciting, but later in his career he's a bit more
Mhm.
conservative. Even like guys like Jonathan Tays,
Right.
um, but he's just a thrill to watch. Every time he's out there, he's flying. He's kind of a weird skater, like on his edges and stuff, but
Mhm.
it's really cool because he's really strong, good shot, good passer. Yeah, he's awesome. I've been trying to get him on my fantasy team for about 3 years now. No luck. I got a shitty draft pick, so I couldn't snag him, and the person's not trading him. That's for sure.
Right. Well, I guess the play might be there is if you know he's going to be on a line like Zuccarello is on a line with him, that might be the play. Zuccarello's got 8 points to start this season.
Yeah, he's off to a hot start too. I haven't even watched a Wild game yet this year. Is Hartman on that first line?
He got bumped down.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah, I figured. That's why he had got dropped in our fantasy league, and I was wondering why. I knew he was playing like crap, but yeah, that must be why he's not on that first line anymore. He has no use.
Yeah, they had allowed like 20 goals in their first 3 games. Minnesota include 2 7 goals to start the season, 2 touchdowns to start the season, which is incredible. But they get a win. Vancouver's got their home opener against the Red Hot Sabres Saturday night. So that's no gimme that you're going to win that game. Sabres have beaten Edmonton and Calgary so far on this Canadian road swing. Based off the last couple weeks, was last night's Thursday night football game thrilling compared to the Broncos and the what was it the week before? It was I don't even
The
remember. It
the
was so bad.
Bears game,
The
Bears
Bears,
Command.
the Bears and the commies.
I think it might have been the best Thursday night football game this year, and that game was an absolute. That was wild. It was it was crazy. I know I had texted you about the Arizona defense. That was short lived. I mean, they had two picks. They had two pick sixes. Still gave up 34 points, and it's crazy. And the Saints, who are known for their good defense, gave
Yeah.
up 42 to a struggling Arizona Cardinals offense. I bet the Cardinals to win, and that hit, so I was happy about that. I was pretty nervous though. That game was crazy. It was exciting though. Like I'm glad we finally got a scoring game instead of these 12-9, 12-7 kicker games.
Right.
I hate watching those. But yeah, last night was pretty interesting, and yeah, hopefully this trend continues for high scoring Thursday night games.
Yeah, I hope so too. Because yeah, last night's game was like it's like you're a drug addict. Like you're riding the high, and you don't know when you're coming down from it because there's back to back plays, pick sixes. Marco Wilson is doing these dances, jumping into the end zone, but it's in slow motion, and Andy Dalton just looks completely depressed. And he throws 3 interceptions, but also throws almost 400 yards passing. Yeah. I mean, it was an Andy Dalton just perfect game for him. That's him to a T. But you look at it, the the Saints had 150 more yards of offense than the Cardinals, and the Cardinals still covered.
I know it was madness. The Saints defense was just terrible. They
Hmm.
couldn't get them off the field. Like it seemed like almost every drive they were scoring. And yeah, there was some. I will say this about the Saints though, as their defense is pretty bad, but offense wise, I think they have an absolute stud in Chris Olave.
Mm.
He is unbelievable. I did not see him being this good this year, and with Thomas and Landry out, he's really shined. And I honestly, once they're back, I wouldn't be surprised if he continues forward as the wide receiver one in that crew, and maybe Yeah, I don't. So, other than that, there wasn't really much bright spots for the Saints. But yeah, like you said, 4 touchdowns, 361 yards for Dalton, but three interceptions. I felt so bad for him. He threw one to Callaway. Wasn't really his fault. He
Yeah.
it hit Callaway should have had it, and then right the next play, he throws an absolute muffin down the middle. So, but that jump by Wilson in the end zone was pretty impressive. It was he was pretty high in the air.
Yeah, he was kind of. I know you were a track guy. Like I was like, it's like a long jump, but it was like even more athletic. Like he's jumping over those bars like in acrobatics, like Simone Biles out there. He's doing his own routine.
Yeah, hardcore parkour.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Um, this weekend in the NFL, there's one game between two teams that have winning records. If you can believe that, it's an it's a slate. I don't know if it's going to be great. I don't know if it's going to be a brutal weekend. I'm optimistic. What's your if you can only watch one game this weekend? What game would you choose?
Yeah, it's not a very exciting slate, that's for sure. I think probably the Chiefs 49ers. I think that'll probably be the best game,
Right.
especially with the addition of Christian McCaffrey to the 49ers. I didn't really see that coming. It's but I think that's a good addition for them if they can gel him and Debo kind of together and not make it so they lose a significant amount of touches from Debo.
Right.
But other than that game, there's not really many I'm looking that forward to watching. I mean, maybe there's really not the one that I would die to watch. Maybe the Jags Giants.
Yeah. Yeah, McCaffrey caught me off guard too because when I woke up this morning, I stayed up long enough to watch two quarters of that Clippers Lakers game for whatever reason because I hate myself. But I I see San Francisco completely caught me off guard. I didn't think they were in play for him whatsoever. And my thought was it's probably a good risk, but they gave up a lot for him. A second, a third, and a fourth in this year's draft. If I'm Carolina, I get off his contract and I think that's a good deal for Carolina knowing they're trading him regardless somewhere.
Well, yeah, exactly. I know they got a lot of compensation for him, especially he's a guy who's in his mid 20s. I know like the career expectancy for elite running backs isn't, as long as wide receivers or quarterbacks. He's also very injury prone, right? I think he's
Yeah.
only played what, like
He
10,
pl-
12 of the last like 30 some
yeah,
games.
yes, yeah.
Something like that. So I think the Panthers did an excellent job. It seems like everyone's overpaying for players these days. Like you see the Russell Wilson trade, even that's looking like an absolute steal right now. But I think yeah, I think this is a good move for the 49ers because they have a really good defense and now they have so many weapons up front. It doesn't really matter if Jimmy G is your starting quarterback. They're a Super Bowl contender in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree. The NFC is completely wide open. Green Bay hasn't been as good as we thought. Tampa's they're falling off a cliff right now. Tom Brady is losing it on everybody but himself. You got the Rams who are upstream without a paddle. I mean, their offensive line, they just lost another tackle for the season, which they're a disaster in that division. You got San Francisco's 3-3. Seattle is also 3-3. Like they're right in the mix in that division, 3-4. The Cardinals. So I don't really have a favorite in the NFC yet, other than the Eagles. Number two is very much really wide open for me. If I had to pick right now, Walk, I think I'd say the Cowboys. As crazy as that seems, Dak coming back, their defense is really. I think Dallas right now is the second most talented team in the NFC.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how before the season everyone thought the NFC East would be the worst division in football, and right now they're honestly the best. They have
Yeah.
they have three teams with a winning record. The Giants playing unbelievable with absolutely nobody on wide receiver. But yeah, the Cowboys are interesting. Their defense is outstanding, and Micah
Yeah.
Parsons is he's amazing. So I'm curious to see what the offense looks like with Dak back because I don't know if they're gonna keep it simple like they did with Cooper Rush, or if they'll go more explosive plays with Dak because Dak will want to be able to cook, as they say.
Yeah.
Uh, but they're a lot better than I think people thought they would be. I think if they can get CeeDee Lamb going with Dak, if their chemistry can kind of get better over the season, I think they'll have a. I don't think they'll do that well in the playoffs, but yeah, just the NFC in general. Everyone's kind of there's the Eagles, and then there's like a mosh pit of everyone else.
Right.
So it'll be and about the Eagles, their schedule is incredibly easy. I don't know who paid who to get that schedule, but it's like I think they'll win 13, 14 games, like almost a lock.
Right. Yeah, because I know they got Detroit. They already played Detroit, but they got Chicago on the schedule still. They got some cupcake teams in the AFC too. I think they got the Texans in there. I think they play them on a Thursday night or something like that. So that's they got the AFC South. Like yeah, they got a nice cushy schedule, and also they're good. Like it's hard to beat
Yeah.
them because they're really good, right? So they Jalen Hurts is playing extremely well. They got a great offensive line. And I like seeing their coach fired up on Sunday night, like yelling back at the Dallas sideline. Nick Sirianni seems to be kind of embodying the city of Philadelphia in his second year with the team.
Yeah, I agree. I'm interested to see though, like do you think playing all of these, I don't know, mediocre below average teams will kind of hinder them going into the playoffs?
It's
Because
certainly good, yeah. I guess
I'm curious.
one thing is they play the Cowboys week 16, so you will get a playoff team close to the postseasons. That's one positive thing.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they play against a team who I'm not sure what the statistics are for who the top like run defense in the league is, but I'm interested to see them play against some teams with very very good defense against the rush
Right.
because it's as great as Jalen Hurts has been, he hasn't been an amazing passer. Like I don't he does, how many pass touchdowns does he have? Not
I think he's got 5 or 6, no more than
yeah.
that.
He
Yeah.
doesn't have a crazy amount. Their team is based off running, right? So it'll be interesting to see them play. I don't just a better team. Like if they were to,
I think the Bucks would be interesting because the Bucks always stop the run extremely well.
yeah. Well, if Tom Brady can get his crap together, I don't.
Yeah, if he
Pretty,
stops going to weddings and focuses on football, maybe he can figure it out. But
yeah, that wasn't a very good look for him, and I I couldn't believe the Steelers won that game.
craziest result of the last weekend for me was that the Steelers won that game. I couldn't
That'll
believe it.
probably be the biggest upset of the season. I can't see anything else beating that.
No, a 10-point dog winning against Tom Brady. Mitch Trubisky beats Tom Brady. I mean, you can't. That's a Hollywood movie right there. You can't write that script. Bad News Bears is not as improbable as that. Looking to this weekend and the lines. This is, I think, a sneaky good game. This is one for me that I really want to watch. And again, it's a rose between a bunch of thorns here. But the Atlanta Falcons visiting the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati's laying 6.5. I think this will be a competitive game. This is one to me that I want to watch.
Yeah, I think the Falcons are a little underrated. They're also covering machines. They've covered every single week. So I don't know what Vegas is doing, but I actually really like this 6.5 for the Falcons. Their offense is like a lot. better than people suggested, and even Marcus Mariota's done a lot better than I thought. I thought he was going to be absolute garbage, like Mitch
Mhm.
Trubisky. But they've been playing well to his suits. Like they've been kind of more of a run team. Don't make him pass it 40 times a game. So this should be an interesting game to see if the Bengals are legit. I know they've been kind of up and down so far this year, but they're starting to head in the right track. So this will be a good game for both teams because the Falcons they're still in the playoff hunt, right? Like
Mhm.
they're 3-3. So this will be a good opportunity for them. Imagine the Falcons with a winning record.
Yeah, and you could argue if they didn't call that roughing the Brady, as I like to call it, a couple of weeks ago, they would have had a chance to go down the field and win. They could be 4-2 right now, easy if they would have been given the opportunity.
Yeah, and even against the Rams, they were only what they lose
They
by.
had that game too. They threw
They
that.
had that game.
Yeah,
So they so I mean realistically, if a couple of calls go their way, they're
yeah,
potentially
they're
5-1.
5-1.
Like it's crazy. It's a shame when teams find a way to lose games, but yeah, that should be an interesting game. Do you like the Falcons to cover?
I've done it every week, and I'm sticking with
Yeah.
it until the bubble's gonna burst. But I think Cincy's starting to find it, and I think they're going to go on a run here. Jamar had over 100 last week. He had 2 touchdowns. Joey B looks confident, but I'm not going against the Falcons. 6 straight covers. Let's make it 7. Marcus Mariota, they'll run the football, chew the clock. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Atlanta plus 6.5. I love the bet. You got to bet underdogs, so I'm with you with Atlanta. The 1-4 Detroit Lions coming off a bye head to Dallas to play the returning Dak Prescott. Dallas is a 7-point home favorite.
Uh, I think they'll probably cover this. The Lions are terrible. For some reason, after the first couple games, I thought they were a frisky team, but
Me too.
getting absolutely blown out by the Patriots and Bailey Zappi. They've had some injuries, which doesn't help. And the Cowboys defense is just too good. I can't imagine the Lions scoring an insane amount of points on this Cowboys team.
And Detroit has the worst defense in football.
Yeah.
Every metric, they have the worst defense in football.
So and with Cooper Rush at quarterback, the Cowboys were getting almost 20 a game. So I feel like with Dak, I think they'll probably score almost 30 at least.
Yeah, this is either going to be like Dallas smokes them by 21 and you feel great about that 7 points, or Detroit finds like the way this season has gone, Detroit will win this weekend. Somehow they'll win. Jared Goff will go legend on us. Off a bye, he's fresh. And Dan Campbell will bite a kneecap off of Mike McCarthy and they'll win. I see it either a blowout or Detroit. There's an upset every week, and you gotta find it. We've seen that, and I don't think it's Detroit, but it could easily be them as well.
It could be. I think there's a couple teams that could upset this week.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll talk about those games obviously in a bit.
Yeah.
But as far as the lines go, I have Jared Goff in one of my fantasy leagues, which
Mm.
is it's insane. This league. I mean, I have Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, and Geno Smith. You don't need to ask me how I ended up with those three as my QBs. And all my running backs got injured. I'm still 5-1 somehow. Anyway,
The Giants. You just find a way.
find a way.
Yeah.
But no, I like the Cowboys -7. I think Dak knows he has to play well this game
Mhm.
because if he doesn't play good and it's a close game or the Lions win, a lot of people are going to be chirping, "Oh, maybe you should put Cooper Rush back in."
Right.
Super Cooper Rush.
I'm right there with you. I like Dallas -7. Game of the weekend, because it's 2 winning teams. 3-2-1 Indy versus 3-2 Tennessee. Tennessee is at 2.5 point home favorite. Second meeting of the season between these two teams.
Yeah. I actually had a hard time with this one. I kind of view both teams kind of even. They're both, I don't think they're really that good, but the Titans have actually played not that horrible lately.
Mm-hmm.
So if I am going to roll with a team, I think it really depends if Jonathan Taylor is healthy for this game. Because if he
Right.
is, I think I'd ride with the Colts. I have them at plus 2.5. But if he's not, then I think the Titans will get that win. I just don't trust Matt Ryan at all. He seems
Yeah.
pretty washed. I mean, even last week against the Jags, it took a final drive for them to get the win, and the Jags defense has been kind of struggling lately. So I think, I think the Titans defense is better than the Jags.
Yes, certainly.
So I think if Taylor plays, I think the Colts have a chance, and I'd probably pick them. But if not, I'll probably roll with the Titans.
Yeah, I think that's all fair. Tennessee's coming off a bye, so they're fresh. So that's one thing for them. Both teams' offensive lines have been really disappointing because Derrick Henry's having a career worst year rushing per game average. So is Jonathan Taylor because it's just awful in Indy. Matt Ryan had to throw, I think he threw 57 times last week in their win against Jacksonville. Like his arm must just be falling off at this point. He's 37 years old. Tennessee's at home. They beat Indy in Indy. It's a divisional game. I'm probably riding with Indy, getting 2.5. I liked Indy before the season. This might be more about my pride, saying I thought Indy would be a pretty good team. Somehow they're 3-2-1. They had that ugly ass game against the Broncos, which is one of the worst football games I've ever seen, but they won it. Then they get a win against the Jags. So they're on a 2-game winning streak. So are the Titans. I'm going to ride Indy plus 2.5 just because Tennessee won in Indy. I think Indy will win in Tennessee. They'll split just like the Jags split with Indy already this year.
It really feels like a pick 'em to me. I feel like it could go either way.
Yeah, I think it's the line kind of tells you that because normally you get 3 points for being a home favorite, and they're not even giving Tennessee 3 points. So, yeah, it's a tough one. Green Bay heads to Washington to play Taylor Heineke in the Washington Command Skin / Washington football team. Washington is a 4.5 point home dog.
I know you like the home dogs.
Yeah, I do like a home dog. I do. I
Maybe
don't
not,
like this home
maybe not
dog.
Washington, but
I don't like this home dog. No.
I think the Packers have to cover this. I mean, I know they lost. They lost to the Giants.
And the
They're
Jets.
rolling, and the Jets, who are also rolling.
Yeah.
They needed overtime to beat Bailey Zappi and the Patriots. But Mike, if they lose to Washington with Taylor Heineke, uh, I think you
Hold
need
up
to.
shop.
I think you need to call it a day.
Yeah.
Start the rebuild. Like their play this year has been absolutely pathetic. They honestly haven't played a good game, except for their best game was against the Bears.
Yeah. Which doesn't even
So
count.
4.5. Yeah, I think they'll cover this. I think they know they need a good game to get people off their backs a little. No, Aaron Rodgers doesn't like the criticism, but he has to be a lot more than a tick better as he.
Right.
So hopefully, yeah, I think the Packers cover this. I think they'll win by a touchdown. Just Washington is just so bad.
I think Green Bay needs to run the football. They didn't do that last week for whatever reason. I would take Green Bay as well, minus 4.5. I'd also take Green Bay over team rushing yards. I just think as a team, Aaron Jones, he should get the ball 20 times this week. Give it to A.J. Dillon a bunch. Just you need a win. Who cares how you get it? Again, it's okay. It's against Washington, and yes, Washington's not a very good team, and Their owner is threatening things, and it's a shit show in Washington right now. But go in and get a win, and find some confidence because you got nothing to be excited about right now. You lost to the Giants, and you lost to the Jets. But Washington, it's basically a home game for Green Bay. Washington has no fans; they don't show up anyway. For the Commanders. They go see the Capitals, not the Commandskins. So yeah, I think it's a get right game for Green Bay. Just to get to 4-3 and see what you can do the back half of the season.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think they need to involve Aaron Jones a lot
Yeah,
more in the offense. He should be getting 15 to 20 rushes, and honestly, he should be getting
5 receptions.
seven,
Yeah,
like 5 to 8 receptions a game, like kind of how they use Alvin Kamara almost. I think
right.
he didn't rush as much last night. I know it was because they were behind by so much, but he still is usually good for 15 to 18 rushes a game, and he's getting like 8 9 targets as well. And I think Aaron Jones is someone who should be utilized like that, and he's their best offensive weapon, right? So
100%. He's the most important piece for Aaron because he doesn't trust any of the other receivers. So Tampa Bay heads to Carolina. Carolina, 11-point home underdog.
I actually have them. I just checked before I came on
Oh,
in
went
my
up.
book. I have them as minus 13.
Oh, God, it went up. Wow.
Went up. I
Yeah, I
probably
guess I did this before the McCaffrey. So yeah, they must have put that into play. Another 2 points. So plus 13 home dog.
think the Bucks will cover it. I The Panthers are terrible. Like last week they got smoked,
Yep.
and they're getting rid of everyone. I don't even know if DJ Moore will be there
I
by
don't.
the
Yeah, I
time
don't know if they'll
Sunday.
dress him. If they know they're going to trade him, I wouldn't blame him.
No, exactly. I wouldn't play him either. So I mean, oof, this is I think it's going to be a rough game. I know the Bucks just lost to the Steelers, but they're not going to let something like that happen again, especially
No,
back to back weeks. So, and is it PJ Walker starting again?
I might be Sammy Darnold. It might.
Oh, that's right.
He was designated to return off IR, but the last time he played Tom Brady, he was seeing ghosts. So I don't know if that's a good sign for things to come for Sam Darnold.
I think this will be an absolute blowout. Uh,
Yeah,
the Panthers have not one good player on their roster left other than DJ Moore. So I probably won't watch this game.
no, neither.
What do you
This could
think
be
about the what
this could be 48-3 Tampa.
do you think about the over under? I have it set at 39 and a half. I'm thinking the over might be a strong play if the Bucks
Yeah,
put up. They
the
might
Bucks
put that
just
up
put 39
themselves.
themselves. Yeah, Brady gets 4 or 5 touchdowns this week, and everybody's back on the Bucks bandwagon after they just played the junior varsity team.
Oh yes, I agree. Everyone will be riding them again.
Yeah, Carolina. Oof, that's rough.
I wouldn't
Your
want to be
game of the
there.
week: Giants. 5-1 Giants head to Jacksonville to play the Jags. Jags are 3-point home favorites.
I don't understand this at all. Giants are 5-1,
Right.
half decent teams. I don't understand why they're underdogs. I thought they would be a field goal favorite
Yeah, I
going
did
into
too.
this game.
Mhm.
So, but with that said, do I trust the Giants? I don't. I don't think Daniel Jones is that good.
But do you trust the Jags?
The prince who was promised,
Yeah, Nick
Trevor
Robertson.
Lawrence. I don't trust them either. I would hit the Giants +3 on this one. I think the Giants will win this game.
Yeah, that's my whole premise is to take underdogs. I hate betting favorites. It's boring, and I would make more money if I did it, but I refuse to because I'm stubborn. Yeah, I mean, if I'm being real here, I'm taking the Giants too. They're 5-1. They've beaten better teams than the Jags, for Christ's sake. The Jags are on a downward spiral. Yeah, I would take the G-men. I would +3. Saquon Barkley, you have a field day in Jacksonville. Get that warm temperature, get his body feeling right. I think he has a fun day. But yeah, if you're getting a 5-1 team and they're a 3-point dog, you take that every day of the week.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that. Saquon has been awesome this year. It's good to see that. I am pretty shocked. I thought the Jags. I feel bad for them because they
Me
their
too.
record could be a lot better. But
And if they win this game, then they get Denver in London the following. They could be 4-4 come their bye week. Like that's the optimistic view because this division you're never out of it. Because we mentioned Tennessee and the Colts. We don't trust either of them. Houston, please. We don't. They're basically not in the league at this point. So Jacksonville is by no means out of it. But if they lose this week, that's a big blow. 2-5 is hard to overcome.
yeah, you're right. Like I had pretty high expectations for them coming in. I thought their D line was going to be a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the
I like
upgrades at
Trevor better.
receiver
Mm-hmm.
and running back. They have good running backs. Robinson and ATN, pretty good duo. So I find it comes down to Trevor Lawrence. He just has to play better. He's been fumbling, making bad plays. I just
The thought.
I
What if
just
you
I just
tease the Jags?
ooh tease them by how many points? That might be a good teaser actually.
4 or 5?
Yeah, yeah, I actually like that. If you did a 4 point teaser for them, make them +1. I would parlay that probably with the Buccaneers
Mm-hmm.
+9. Yeah, I think they're gonna blow them out.
Right. That might be a tease little option. The Jags. You get the Jags as a home dog. If you can flip anything into a home dog, I'll tease anything because
Yeah,
as you know, I love a home dog. Yeah, that might be a little teaser package this weekend. Little Jags, little. I like betting cats as well, so you get a nice little jungle cat in there, the Jacksonville. But
what if
Cleveland. Oh no, what's
I
that?
was gonna say that if you want to do a three teamer, you
Yeah,
go like 4 point. So you go the Jags +1, Bucks
right.
+9, and then you add the Falcons +10.5.
I like that.
I think that covers.
Oh, Atlanta, is covering.
Oh yeah,
They'll cover anything. They'll cover +1. They'll find a way. They'll tie.
yeah.
Um, Dallas, yeah, for sure. And yeah, I don't mind that little tease. That's intriguing. Might have to throw that in Sunday after I lose money betting UFC on Saturday. So might as well do that. Seamus writes in and comments says, "I look like I play bass for the Beatles." Well, I'll take that as a compliment. To be completely honest, one of my coworkers said today that I should straighten my hair to see what it looks like. She did it. This is the aftermath. It's starting to curl back in, but yeah, this is the remains of the do. So that's
Almost like
what's
a Aaron Rodgers lookalike.
yeah, that's right. Con Air. When Seamus also says, "Go Lakers, good team." That must be directed at you, Walker. That's a direct. That's a shot. That's uncalled for.
Oh, it's totally called for. They suck. Uh, they're garbage.
I mean, they could get
Let
Seamus to join the team, but he was never that good of a shooter, so they can't ask him.
he could be a facilitator. I think.
They got enough facilitators. None of them can shoot, man.
Yeah, that's true. They're all horrible shooters. I don't know what happened to Anthony Davis. He used to be a good shooter. Now he's a center that won't play center. He's a really good center who will not play center, and it's so frustrating.
Yeah, LeBron has to
He
play center and point guard.
the guy is like 49. Like, come on. Like LeBron should not have to put up 30 points a night just to. The
Keep it
worst part
competitive.
is like they could have won that game last night too, but
I like the
it,
Clippers. I like the Clippers. They look good.
they should have traded Russ for John Wall when they had the chance.
Even they should have traded him to Indiana because Miles Turner already got hurt. So now they can't make that trade until months down the line.
I don't know what they're gonna do with Westbrook. He was atrocious last night.
I threw a couple NBA bets. I put Sacramento over 32 and a half wins. I took Sacramento plus 350 to make the play in. I like that. I like that
That's a good one.
little parlay. And I also did I put money on the Celtics to win the East, and I put money on the Nuggets to win the West parlay.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like that. I uh I have a couple NBA props here. One that I love is the Cavaliers over 47 and a half wins.
Mm.
I think they're sick. I think they're going to be really good this year. I got a few more that we can. Do you want to jump to that, or do you want to?
We'll sprinkle that in at the end. Yeah, we'll get back to Seamus just says Russ MVP as well, so he's right. He's feeling the Lakers. I think he's a
I
fan.
got
So.
some. I got some Mavs bets. If Seamus wants to hop on that train, not
Oh,
too late.
you didn't just listen to Nick Wright and his bets, Block. No, no,
No,
that's that's a sinking ship. The Mavs. They're no okay. I can't wait to hear them, but I'm worried about you now. I'm worried about you. Oh, Nick Wright kills everyone. Cleveland at Baltimore. Baltimore is minus 6.5.
they should cover this.
Baltimore or Cleveland?
Sorry, Baltimore. I think should cover this, but their defense really worries me. They, I think they'll have a bounce back game because they just have such a hard time holding leads. But if their defense, the Browns aren't really an explosive offense anyway. So if they can kind of slow down or even just keep Chubb to a
Low roller.
minimum,
Yeah.
I think they'll be fine and be able to cover this. Interesting though, the Browns are a team that probably should have a lot more wins than they do.
Yeah, they should at least be 4-2, not 2-4.
Yeah, exactly. But I think Lamar, who's been kind of okay these last couple of games. He started out hot. He's kind of went down a bit. I think he'll have a big bounce back game, and I like the Ravens at minus 6.5.
I do as well. The Cleveland defense is terrible, and I think Lamar has a big day, and I would take him over touchdowns for the day. It's another I like for the Ravens, and so yeah, New York Jets at the always entertaining Denver Broncos. Denver is a 1 point home favorite.
Yeah, I don't know about this one. I I think I'd roll with the Jets.
I'm not picking the
I
Broncos ever.
No,
I'll
they can't
Monday
score.
night. I did Monday night. I did, but
Did I as well?
they were plus
I might.
four minus, and they covered.
Actually, no, I didn't bet on that game.
Okay,
I
yeah,
was too. I couldn't decide.
that's fair.
I don't want to put any money on the Broncos games, but I would probably put money on the Jets. I mean, the Broncos, they're only scoring, I think, 15 a game, but they're only allowing, I think, 17,
Yeah,
18, something
they
like
got
that.
the best defense in the NFL.
It's insane. Like their defense has played good enough for them to win every single game, and Danger Russ and his sandwiches aren't getting it done. So I like the Jets in this one. They've been rolling. I think they have some good offensive pieces. Brees Hall has been awesome. I think he'll have a field day. I don't know. Zach Wilson's really. I don't really know what he's going to be like.
He's not a great quarterback.
No, if they run the ball a lot more than they throw, I think they'll have good success.
I hate that it's -1. I hate these low spreads because it leaves you so little room for error when it comes to gambling, unless the Jets just outright win, which they could. I wish it
That's
was a
probably what I would
wish it
bet.
was a +4 and I could take the Jets plus. I would hammer the Jets +4 if it was something like that. Maybe this is a little teaser.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Yes, this might be another little add to the tease. I would tease the Jets. If you can get 4 +4 or 5 in the Jets, I would tease the hell out of that
Oh yeah, for sure.
because they
That's
might
way too
win,
tough.
already at -1. But Denver's got to win eventually. Their defense may intercept Zach Wilson a few times this week, and their defense might win them a game because Russ has every known injury known to man. He might have lupus now. He's gonna have He's got his lat pull. He's got a hamstring. I mean, the guy's beat to hell. Maybe he should just sit down if he's that hurt. I don't know, but I would take the Jets with a little teaser this week. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, we're gonna have like an 8-team teaser here by the time we end the
And
show.
it's gonna fail, but you do
Yeah,
it anyway because it's just you feel like it's gonna win at the time.
exactly. I've actually been on quite the hot streak since I was on the show last.
Well,
So
it's good. I'm glad that's done that because NFL I've not. College I'm still hot as hell betting college. I can't miss betting college football, but NFL just makes me frustrated. But Houston at Vegas, Vegas 6.5 point home favorite.
I am riding with the Raiders. Riding with the Raiders. Coming off the they just came off the bye, right?
Yeah,
So the Texans are horrible. I
correct.
think the Raiders need a win desperately, and there's really no better position for them to be in than to play the Texans. Um, I think this is a good game to kind of get your offense meshed together and build some more chemistry because it doesn't seem like they're all there. The last game against the Chiefs, that final play was pretty horrendous.
Yeah, yes.
Hunter Renfrow running into Devontae Adams, and then Devontae Adams assaulting a cameraman. I say
Yeah, that was
that
some.
lightly,
Yeah.
but it was still wrong of him. Don't get me wrong; he definitely shouldn't have did that. But
Mhm.
the guy was definitely looking for a payday after that.
I think Vegas could go on a little bit of a run here. I think they'll beat Houston easily. I agree with you. I looked up who they play the next week, and it's not exactly a tough opponent. I forget who it is now, but it's another kind of a cupcake game. So they could easily be 3-4. And I look at their division, like the Chargers are 4-2, but they're a fraud 4-2. They Herbert's beat up. They got no offensive line. They have without Keenan Allen, they have nobody to throw to. Like it's just an offense that is they nearly lost to the damn Broncos. Like they couldn't cover against the Broncos. That tells you all you need to know. So I think Vegas could go on a bit of a run here and get back into the swing of the division by the midway by week 10. I think they could still be in the hunt for a playoff spot.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If they can go on a nice little run here, get back to 500 or even, I think their next four games are
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
soft. I think so. They're 1-4. They could be back to 4-4, 5-4 here. So they're just too talented to be this bad. Like but I think they're definitely turning things around. They almost beat the Chiefs.
hmm
Probably should have
yeah.
beaten the Chiefs. I don't. Though the play calling in that game was a little
A little suspect.
questionable, I think. But I like they have some good defenders. Like Max Crosby is awesome. He should reign terror this weekend against poor old Davis Mills. What do you think about the over under on this one? I have it at 45.5. I was interested in because I think this is a game the Raiders could score
Yeah,
30 plus.
yeah, I agree. I could see it being like 30-9.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Like Texans might not score a touchdown. That's the only problem with
They're
that.
really bad. They don't have much
They
at
are.
all.
Yeah, they
Like I
are.
think they have Damian Pierce, who's
Yeah.
really their only like shining light right now. He's been playing pretty well, but other than that, they're just a mess at every position.
I might take the under on the over under just because I think I agree with you. I think Vegas will score, but I'm not sure Houston will hold up the end of the bargain. They might just get 3 field goals the whole game.
No, I like that. I like that.
Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks head to Los Angeles to play the Chargers. Chargers are 5.5 point favorites.
I think the Seahawks will cover this.
Oh yeah.
Geno's been cooking.
Yeah.
I mean, he could turn into a pumpkin at any moment, given,
Yeah.
right? But he's been cooking. That offense has been clicking. The only problem is their defense is terrible right
Yeah.
now.
It is.
Like
But
the point total is 50. 50. So, but I think the
I'll take
Seahawks
the
will
under
cover
on
this.
that.
Yeah,
I'll go.
you think?
Yep. Chargers aren't scoring 30.
The Seahawks might though.
Yeah, they might. They might.
I think the Seahawks could outright win this game.
I agree. I can. I'm right there with you. I think they will win this game outright.
That's what the Chargers are so banged up, right? And
Hmm.
for them, it's Austin Eckler or bust. So if he doesn't run 150 yards and gets 3 touchdowns, I think, yeah, I agree with you. I think the Seahawks will win this outright.
Little Seattle tease.
Throw them in. Throw them in.
Yeah, no, I like Seattle too. Go on the road. Chargers have no home fans. It'll be a Seattle home game. So I like Seattle +5. KC at San Francisco. San Francisco's 2.5 point home dog.
Give me the home dog.
Ooh, yeah,
This might be a little. There might be a little biasy in this pick, considering
right.
I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. But
Yeah, you hate
give me the.
Mahomes.
I don't hate him. I think he's the best quarterback in the league, but
Okay, there you
which is
go.
probably why I hate the Chiefs so much because he's so good. But
Yeah.
I was so happy last weekend. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to even get into it. But I like the 49ers. I won't lie. I think with Christian McCaffrey coming in, I think the 49ers offense will put up a lot of points against this Chiefs defense who hasn't been that great this year. And the Chiefs only put up 20 against the Bills. The Bills
Yeah.
have a great defense. I think the 49ers defense is better.
Yep, I agree.
So I think this will be I think it'll be another like 24-20-ish kind of game. And I think the 49ers win this one outright 27-24.
Interesting. I'm gonna take Kansas City 2.5 point home favorite. I probably won't bet on this game because again, I don't bet on favorites because it's boring and I hate prosperity. But San Francisco's likely going to miss at least 3 defensive starters, and I don't know if McCaffrey's going to play because he's only going to get in there today. He'll have walk through tomorrow, so maybe he does lace him up, but I think that's still a question mark if he plays. Pornstar does get up for the big games. I'll give him that. He plays well against great quarterbacks.
Super Bowl revenge game.
That's true. It is a revenge game for Pornstar. If he can only, maybe he'll complete a deep ball down the field, really to get that revenge off his back. Like he'll feel really vindicated. But yeah, I got to go with Kansas City -2.5.
Fair.
Bounce
It
back.
is hard to bet that the Chiefs would lose 2 in a row. So, but this is kind of just a pure. This is what I want to have happen. Is
Right.
I want the 49ers to win this
Yeah.
game, and I think they can.
Well, if San
Oh
Francisco does lose this game, they'll be 3-4. Arizona will be 3-4. Rams are 3-3. They're on a bye, and we'll see what Seattle. We think Seattle's going to beat the Seattle could be first in this division come Monday morning.
Wouldn't that be crazy? Everyone thought they were going to be like one of the worst teams in football.
Geno Smith,
He's back.
the prince that we were promised.
Yeah, the real prince that we were promised.
Yeah, the real one, not the fake one, not the Jacksonville one.
No.
Sunday Night Football, another great primetime game. Steelers head to Miami to play the Dolphins.
Who put these games together? I want to know that.
Who thought the Steelers were going to be great? Like the schedule people thought this game was something people wanted to see. I don't get it.
I think whoever made the schedule for primetime games should be fired this
Agreed.
year. Like, who in their right mind thought that Washington and Chicago was a good idea for anyway, continue. I just had to say that.
Okay. Tua, looks like Tua's going to be back. Sounds like Kenny Pickett's going to clear concussion protocol. So if he clears it, he will start, not Mitch Trubisky, the prince that delivered last weekend. Tua, we haven't seen play in a number of weeks, come back from that scary injury. While Miami can't score without him, Tyreek Hill's averaging 160 yards receiving a game. Jalen Waddle's averaging 125 per game. Who do you like in this game?
I like the Dolphins. -7 seems like I'd probably take the Dolphins -7. I think having Tua back will kind of boost their confidence. It'll probably get Jalen Waddle a little more involved in the offense. He's been kind of quiet as of late. And I think the Steelers had their moment. They had their upset win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the same team that got blown out by Buffalo, who didn't even score a touchdown against them.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins were able to beat Buffalo, actually. So
right.
I think the Dolphins, I think they'll cover this. The Steelers are just terrible. And you never really know what you're going to get with Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky. It's probably not going to be good, whatever it is, but I just don't think they'll put up a lot of points this weekend. And the thing about their game against Tampa Bay is Tampa Bay already had a struggling offense, right? So they only put up 20 against the Buccaneers. So I think the Dolphins could probably easily put up 30 plus.
Yeah, Miami's got an explosive offense for sure. Kenny Pickett is second real start, and he got concussed in the first one. So that's not a great start for him. I hate Matt Canada, their offensive coordinator. Their offense is so predictable, and it's just garbage flatly. 7, I should be comfortable with Miami because the way they played with Tua to start the year, they look like a great team. But now they're 3-3, and you get a little nervous because they're 3-3. And if Pittsburgh wins this game, they'll have the same record as the Dolphins at 3-4. So that tells you something as well. But yeah, like you, I'll take the Dolphins 7-point home favorites in this game. But I'm not. My confidence meter, I'm at like a 52% out of 100.
No, it's probably a game I won't lay any money on just because I don't 100% trust the Dolphins. I also don't know how healthy Tua is going to be, right?
Right.
And even him, I don't really think he's still that proven. He had that one great quarter against Baltimore, but other than that, I mean, he hasn't been a superstar by any means, right?
No.
So
plus, how does he react to playing not just maybe his passing, but him in the pocket? If he's going to take a sack, how does he throw the ball? Is he scared? That's human nature too. We don't know how he's going to react as a person getting back on the field.
Exactly. I think it's kind of a questionable game that I would probably stay away from.
And we wrap up week 7 with this game. I don't know how this was scheduled. It's offensive to me, this game. But the Chicago Bears, my God, again, primetime, head to New England to play the Patriots. Patriots are an 8-point home favorite.
I'm gonna go risky. I'm going Bears are gonna cover this +8. 40 point total is the game. So I think there's a lot of room for the Bears to cover this. I think oh this is gonna be a horrible game. This is either gonna be a Patriots blowout or yeah, I think the Bears will cover this though. And I hope they do because there's going to be a lot of people riding the Patriots in Survivor this week. A lot.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's probably the easiest one of the week. Maybe Dallas. Is that the other one for Survivor Pool?
I there was four that were there was four teams that had a lot, and it was the Patriots, Cowboys, Buccaneers,
Green Bay.
and Raiders.
Hmm. Raiders wouldn't be a bad pick because
That's
you're not going to take
that
the
that's
Raiders again, so you can kind of. Are you still alive?
yeah. I'm still alive. I who did I have? I had the Rams last week.
Good
I've had a
run.
couple close calls
Right.
actually. I had the Broncos when they beat the Texans, barely. I had Green Bay against the Patriots. They won in overtime. So and yeah, so I was leaning towards the Raiders this week.
Yeah, I think I would go Raiders as well. Yeah, I think I would go Raiders too because although New England, I'm going to look up who the Raiders play next week because I remember it being a pretty easy game. So I'm kind of trying to line it up for you with just finding a gimme because I New England's gonna should beat Chicago. Maybe even if they cover, I think they'll win the game.
Yeah,
But I'll see if I can find the game here as I pull it up because I remember the I looked at the Raiders schedule thinking how will they do? So the Raiders next week are at the Saints.
that should be a win.
That should be a win, you'd think. A banged up Saints team, who knows, Red Rifle might be back. Have you taken the Cowboys yet in Survivor Pool?
I have not.
So here's
So
another strategy. You could take New England Monday night against Chicago and just fade Chicago because the Cowboys play the Bears next week.
that'd be a smart idea.
Yeah.
I've been fading the Bears, Panthers.
Panthers are
So
another team to fade. Yes, that's Panthers next week. They might be on a bye, which is good for everybody, so we don't get to see them play. Oh no, they play the Falcons next week. The Panthers.
okay.
Yeah, but no, it's a couple thoughts, but not the biggest, not the most exciting week of NFL. But maybe we'll when we say that, there's always entertaining games, so I'm sure there'll be something to dive into this week. You mentioned you had some NBA props that you wanted to dive into. What have you made so far? What are you looking into to betting moving forward here?
Yes, so I guess I'll keep it quick here. I have a couple. I haven't bet on anything officially yet, other than a couple like over unders for wins. But I have a very interesting dark horse MVP bet that I think I want to lay.
Okay, can I guess?
Yes,
Okay, MVP,
dark horse.
dark horse, because I know Luca was paying big money. So you got the Joker up there. You got the Greek Freak. LeBron wouldn't be a dark horse, I don't think. Um, dark horse, not Jason Tatum. He's a heavy favorite. James Harden.
No, although he's off to a pretty good start.
Yeah.
Zion Williamson.
Oh wow, Zion.
I know it's really a dark horse. If he stays healthy, the
Right.
Pelicans have a
I
good
like,
year.
I like I like the Pelicans a lot. I love their team.
I think I think they'd have a shot. Another one, NBA title, Philadelphia 76ers.
Hmm.
They're
Yeah, I
paying
think they
they're
got a really good roster.
plus 1400 about there. I like that. And It's for Seamus. Lakers under 45.5 wins.
Are they going to make the playoffs?
I think they'll make the play in.
Right. Yeah, I got them making the play in too.
That's as far as I'm willing to.
Because there's so many bad teams in the West.
Yeah,
Utah
especially the West.
and OKC, San Antonio, Houston. There's just there's a lot of bad teams in the Western Conference.
A lot of teams will be tanking this year too for
For Big Ben.
Wembum, Ben Yama.
Who do you got winning the title?
If I had to, I got the Bucks.
I got Bucks Nuggets in the finals.
This is where you're probably gonna laugh me off the show, but I got Bucks Mavs final.
Okay, so let me just play it out here. Luka's great, no doubt about it. Who's the Mavs' second best player?
Maybe.
If you tell me Spencer Dinwiddie, I might have to kick you off the show.
I'd probably say Christian Wood or maybe Tim Hardaway. I don't know. I think they need to add some pieces, but
yeah.
They got to the conference finals last year. I think they could repeat if they added a few things.
I got them in the plan.
Oh shit! Wow.
Yeah, I think Denver obviously is a top 6 seed. You agree with me on that?
Yep.
Clippers?
Yep.
Memphis? Golden State?
Yes.
Minnesota?
I think they could be. I think I'd like the Mavs more.
Okay. New Orleans?
Maybe.
Phoenix?
I'll say yes.
So that's 5 so far and a couple of maybes. So we're getting close to the play-in. And when I had the Lakers and Dallas, right, real close.
I'd probably put the Mavs somewhere between the 5 and 7.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder what superstar will want out because they're gonna have to get somebody if they want to have a realistic chance at winning. Because the only problem for them is the bad teams have really traded away all their pieces so far. Like getting a Mike Conley isn't going to change life for them. From Utah, they're not going to. Colin Sexton's not going to. Does Gilgeous Alexander ask out in OKC and maybe Dallas could pick him up, get 2 guards?
Maybe. You think they'd want to do everything they can to keep him, especially where they'll probably end up. Well, I think they have a really good young core, so
yeah, they'll get another top pick for sure.
Exactly. If I was them, I'd be trying my best to keep him around.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting NBA years. A lot of good teams, and there's a lot of great players in the NBA right now too. So it's a fun league to follow. Are you a UFC guy?
A little bit. My brother's actually really into it. I'll probably try to watch them this weekend. I haven't watched it enough yet to really make too many bets on it. Although I might ask my brother for some. He bets on it all the time.
I got a number of things I like this weekend, but you got Islam Makhachev's fighting Charles Oliveira, which should be a fun fight. Charles is an underdog. I don't know how he's an underdog betting, but if you're betting right now, go bet Charles plus 145. I like that. TJ Dillashaw is fighting Aljamain Sterling. Sterling's the current champion. Sterling to me is a fraud champion, but he's a minus 180 favorite. Dog Dillashaw, new champion. Petr Yan is fighting my guy, Sugar Sean O'Malley. I like Sugar. plus 225 underdog, I jump on it. Those are just a couple bets. Bilal Muhammad is another guy I really like. He's an underdog against Sean Brady. I think there's not that great a value in the UFC when you're betting underdogs or trying to make good money. I think there is this weekend at this pay-per-view. I think it's gonna be a great card also. There's some great fights on this card. So there's money to be made. Have a chat with your brother, but I think he'll reiterate my stance that you could some money to be made on UFC 280 this weekend.
I agree. He probably will. Shout out to him. It's his birthday today. So
Happy birthday, Parker. How old's Parker today?
he's 21.
Oh, the big 21. Is he heading down to the US?
No, he's staying in Freddie.
Oh, okay, well, that's fun too. You can have some fun up there. Yeah, I could tell him a few things that are fun up there to do. So maybe I'll get a hold of him for 21. But no, Walk, always a pleasure. Appreciate you hopping on, man, and enjoy the sports this weekend.
Yeah, thanks. You as well. Thanks for having me on, and hopefully we make a ton of money this weekend.
Yes, I think the name of the game is teasers.
Yeah, I think we got a big teaser coming this weekend.
Oh, it's got to be. It's got to be a big teaser this weekend. But no, enjoy, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on.
There's Walker Campbell, everybody. Awesome to talk to Walker. Always great to get into the gambling angles with him. He knows it well, and always great to chat with him. So we're heading into another weekend, if you can believe it. It's October 21st today, back half of the month. Halloween is on the horizon for the people that love that holiday. But we got football, we got college football, we got the NHL going, NBA, UFC. Yeah, it's just a lot of stuff this weekend. College football, you can make some money too. I'm telling you, there's some games this weekend I like. Quickly, before we wrap up. Let's look at this. Baylor, 10-point favorite against Kansas. I like Kansas plus 10. Duke versus Miami University, a.k.a. the U. I like Duke plus 9. Ole Miss at Death Valley, LSU. LSU is a minus 2.5-point favorite. I like Ole Miss plus 2.5. UCLA at Oregon. Oregon 6-point favorite. UCLA plus 6. What else? KSU, TCU is 3.5-point favorite. I like TCU as a home favorite against Kansas State. Not betting it because I don't bet favorites. But those are just a few bets in the college football world. Lots of NHL bets. Should be a fun weekend for gambling and just watching sports. So I'll be back Monday to break it all down. Until then, enjoy your weekend. This has been To The Point.